Yes,
Am I
madam.
audible? Okay, thank you so much.
Yes, madam.
Uh, on behalf of Hindi Vidya Prachar Samiti's Ram Niranjan Junjunwala College, Water Management Committee of Social Entrepreneurship, Swachhata and Rural Engagement Cell, a warm welcome to all the dignitaries present here. Our today's chief guest, Honorable Dr. Ajit Gokhale, Principal Dr. Himanshu Davda, Vice Principal Captain Praveen Nayak, Vice Principal Dr. Sneha, in charge of the Water Management Committee, Professor Chaya Pinge, all my dear colleagues, and also our former Vice Principal, Dr. Sampath Ingle sir, and all my dear friends. I welcome you all for a very, very intriguing lecture on water conservation. Are we responsible? In the outset, I request Principal Dr. Himanshu Davda sir to address the gathering.
Thank you, Mansi, madam. Very good morning to everyone present in the room. English, sir, thank you very much for being with us. It means a lot to all of us. And our very own Ajit sir is a resource person today. Welcome, Ajit sir, back on the campus of RJC.
Thank you.
You are someone whom we have seen as a student, then as a colleague, and then as a successful entrepreneur who has carved his own niche field where people stay away from, because it involves interacting with others, it involves to put in by your own self, it also involves a lot of readiness to meet the challenges, and in the process of challenges, many a times we do come across these setbacks, but the zeal and the enthusiasm with which you have proceeded and on behalf of all of us, all my teacher colleagues, the committee members, I extend a very warm welcome to you. The curiosity that you always have, like a child of 5 years old, has impressed us also as a teacher. The great taxonomist in you, who they always express when you see plant, and the kind of research that you contributed in the Department of Biological Sciences will always be remembered by all of us. It's very happy moment to welcome you, sir. And I also welcome all others who have joined today. Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, Mansi madam.
Yeah, shall I begin, sir? Oh, thank you, sir. I would like to introduce.
Yes, madam.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I would like to introduce all to our today's resource person, Dr. Ajit Gokhale, sir. But before beginning with his introduction, I would just like to quote two things. On the background of that, everyone will understand how important the topic and the work sir has done in his field is so relevant for us. UNDP in its documents of Sustainable Development Goals has highlighted the importance of water conservation in its 6th goal as well as in 14th goal, where in the 6th goal UNDP talks about sustainable management of water and sanitation for all, and in the Sustainable Development Goal of 14th it talks about conservation and sustainable use of water, oceans, seas and marine resources. It is also said that if at all there is a third world war happening, then it probably might be on water. So water is that very important for the sustenance and lives of all the living creatures in this world. On this background, Dr. Ajit sir's contribution in the water management conservation is really very significant. He is the most appropriate person to talk about water conservation. He is the founder and leader of Natural Solutions. He works as Jal Nayak, state level expert trainer of trainers on water of Water Literacy Center of Government of Maharashtra at Yashda. He has established Natural Solutions in the Service of Mother Nature 2003. To his name, he has two international consultancy projects. One on the consultancy for wastewater management to PDOC Khartoum, and the second one consultancy for crude sludge management to Oryx GTL Qatar. Not only that, but Dr. Ajit also works for Indian firms. He is being the consultant to two water treatment majors, Iron Exchange Limited, and a retainer with another water giant, Eureka Forbes. He's a water trainer for staff of Bharat Petroleum Corporation Limited. He is the examiner for the environmental architecture for Rachana Sansad Academy of Architecture. He's Panchayati Raj Empowerment Training for elected representatives of Mokhada Taluka in Thane district. He conducts these training programs. And he's a trainer for wastewater and organic farming projects for over 100 NGOs. The turnkey projects he is involved in also are related to mitigating water scarcity over 300 villages that is served, innovated and established flanged, vented and removable bunds. He is also involved in the project mitigating floods of 6 rivers. The upcoming projects which he's working on are nano hydroelectric generator in co-flow mode in a river, as well as fecal solid separator for sewage treatment. It is at its demonstration stage. Dr. Ajit has received major awards such as Paryavaran Saurakshan Samman of Tarun Bharat Sangh 2020. He also has received a recognition and an award as Rashtriya Swayam Siddha Award of JSW Foundation 2020. He also is the recipient of Vocational Excellence Award Rotary Club for Rainwater Harvesting 2003. And very importantly, he's been awarded Young Scientist at Indian Society of Plant Physiologists Conference at BHU 1991. Over 3 decades, Dr. Ajit Gokhale is having an experience in application of research in ecology, particularly in wetlands and water bodies, including rivers and many other related areas. Sir has finished his MSc and PhD as well, and he has received distinction in Diploma Environmental Management and ISO 14,000 1999. His PhD in the above field and has a research experience from 1995 onward. Since he is our alumni of RJ College, he received a first position in RJ College, University of Mumbai when he was in MSc in the year 1990. Similarly, he received first position in KV Pendarkar College in the University of Mumbai in BSc as well.
Two old things, madam. Please skip them.
Huh?
These are 2 old things. Skip them, please.
No, sir, but they are very inspiring for the students. Maybe for you they are old, but for the students they are very inspiring. So I feel they have to be highlighted so they can drive some kind of a spirit to work in future. That's why I'm highlighting them also. In 1988, he stood first in KV Pendarkar College, University of Mumbai when he was pursuing BSc. And for my teacher colleagues, it is I am very happy to make a note that he also has qualified NET and SET. So, sir, once again, I welcome you all, welcome you for this lecture, and we are very eager to listen to you about your words of experience on water. Are we responsible? Sir, all to you.
Thank you. I'll now try and share a screen which has a presentation. Is my screen visible? Hello?
Yes, sir, it is very much visible. It is visible.
Yes, sir, yes.
Thank you. Thanks to Janjanwala College, which taught me for my MSc and doctorate and gave me very good experience. Thanks to Himanshu sir, Ingre sir, I think Josie madam, Varghese madam is also there, Mary Josie. Thanks to all of you. Thanks to Praveen. Now I'll start with our topic today. Water, are we responsible? You have heard of this idiom, right? Killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Everyone must have. But nowadays, each one of us have become so adept at killing that we kill several thousand birds in our lifetime. Do you agree? No, I'm not talking about turkeys. I'm not talking about chicken. I'm talking about brown albatrosses. You may ask, we have never seen a brown albatross. How can we kill them? But if you search properly, you'll find you and me all are killing brown albatrosses. They are giant birds with 7 feet wingspan. They have been living on far off Pacific Islands. Surrounding them for 2000 miles, there is no major continent. And yet, my friends, you and me are killing them. You don't agree? Just have a look at this. This person is Chris Jordan. Later on, you can search for the movie that he has made on this island. What he is filming is this. These birds are eating lot of plastic and other kind of stuff. It is going in their guts and killing them. What remains after the bird decays are these things. And we are responsible for throwing them around. All these things then slowly move across the streams to the ocean one day or the other. They develop algae on them. And for a fish, it looks as if it is their own food. So the fish eats plastic. Plastic eaten fish becomes weak and it becomes easy prey for the brown albatross. Then what happens is the brown albatrosses start becoming ill. And when they become ill, they become absolutely incapacitated to feed or to feed others. As a result, all of them then succumb. And then this plastic comes back out again. It is like reusable bullet. These caps can become reusable bullets. They flow through, go to the sea, become a blob of algae, become fish, and then are eaten again by these animals, these birds. We are responsible for this kind of killing of birds whom we never ever see. So this is something that we are doing to our water and to our water creatures. Are we really responsible? But this presentation is not about plastic waste. It is not about killing the birds. It is about enlivening the birds. It is about enlivening the birds by removing stones and making the rivers flow again. This might appear a little weird, right? How can you improve biodiversity by removing stones? Which birds? So many and many more. And how do we enliven them by removing the stones? Stones are natural. They are simple. They are cute. But they are villains. They kill several birds and they take away the habitat for several other creatures. But if we come to think of it carefully, is it the stones or someone else who's the villain? These stones are normal, natural, rounded. They are in the stream for ages. How can they be villains? They are part of nature. But they are not really, because they are causing habitat and food loss for all those beautiful birds and many more life forms. And hence, by removing them, we can enliven biodiversity. we are talking about such kind of rivers. These are Western Ghat rivers. By removing stones appropriately from the riverbeds, we are helping in rejuvenation of mountain range. And by doing this project, we feel we came very close to our vision and mission. When we established Natural Solutions in 2003, we started with a vision to help Mother Nature in healing herself. And to do that, we try and help eco-friendly initiatives and spread environmental literacy. We work only on invitation basis and so far have been invited to so many places. In some places for a few projects, in some places for several projects. Everything that we do, we see to it is eco-friendly. And our inspiration is this city. This is map of Banaras, Varanasi. There are two rivers which can be seen in this map, Varuna and Ganga. Varuna in the north, some people call it Varuna. Ganga in the east. And in 2002, there was water scarcity in this city. Where that triangle is on the left hand side near bottom, there is Waterworks Department. In 2002, despite of having two rivers, one of them very big, and Waterworks Department, there was water scarcity on the banks of Ganges in Varanasi. It was not always so. In 1931, the Water Supply Department was born. That time there was River Varuna and that time there was River Ganga. But if you notice, there are more tiny blue dots. These tiny blue dots are ponds and lakes. And where that Water Supply Department was, it was established in 1931 because there was water scarcity in Varanasi at that time. But this too was not always so. Before this, there was no water supply department. There was no need for one. If you see properly, there are many more large blue patches. All those blue patches are ponds and lakes made and managed by people of Varanasi. More than 70 of them. And if you notice towards the south, there is a river. That flow is called as River Assi. If you notice, Varuna in north, Assi in the south, the place is called Varanasi. Incidentally, this is the oldest living city on this planet. There were probably older cities, but they are no more living. Varanasi is the oldest living city. It had more than 70 ponds and lakes. Ponds and lakes are formed naturally by 3 or 4 processes. One is a landslide, a volcano, meteorite attack, and changing path of river. None of these are active or were active in Varanasi. And yet, there were 70 ponds and lakes. They were interconnected to each other, and our ancestors saw to it that the streams were taken away from Ganga to the extent possible. Because Ganga is a fast moving conveyor belt. You put water in Ganga, it goes out quickly. So if you notice, Mandakini, Matsyodari, all these ponds, lakes, they were drained towards River Varuna. In 1991, when along with our beloved Karmarkar sir, I went to Varanasi to take part in Indian Society of Plant Physiology's convention, I heard the Kulageet over there. It says, Suramya dharaye varuna assi, nahaye jiname kabir tulasi. That anthem of Banaras Hindu University chronicles these two rivers, Varuna and Assi. I asked those people around, where is Varuna? They said, Varuna to abhi gutter hai, kuch zyada bada bacha nahi hai. I asked them, where is Assi? They said, Assi? There is no river called Assi. हाँ एक घाट है, अस्सी घाट नाम का एक घाट है, that's all. Between 1822 to 1991, people had forgotten a river called Assi. We killed river Assi between 1822 to 1931. The causes are numerous. One of them is breaking down of Indian society, breaking down of Indian culture. With the advent of British rule, who were not interested in maintaining what India had. They were here to exploit India to the maximum extent possible and sending the revenue to London so that Britishers can fight wars with their neighbors and not so neighbors. For 150 years, this country lived on only 20% of its revenue. Remaining 80% was shipped to London. This is how times have changed. 1822, more than 70 large ponds and lakes. 1931, hardly about 40 tiny remnants of lakes. In 2002, hardly 20 black dirty ponds. This needs to be reversed. And thankfully, we are having such kind of reversals happening in Varanasi. With that inspiration, we started working in various places. This one is a village called Malghar Dapti. It's in Zawar Taluka of Palghar district. On 5th January 2011, the well was dry. That same well, in that same year, 11th March 2011, had water. Between January to March, it does not rain. At least it did not rain in those years. This is application of appropriate knowledge of geology and civil engineering. And it works. I am a trained botanist, but I never thought that I am only a botanist. So I could study different things parallelly and work on it. This is an orphanage called Mukta Jeevan. It is in Vehdoli near Shahpur. And they had made a check dam which was not holding water, not even during rainy season. This image is towards end of rainy season, beginning of winter. There was this water flow and the check dam was dry. Following summer, the check dam was full. This is application of appropriate knowledge of soil and little bit of civil engineering. People also call us for cleaning their lakes and ponds. This one was sold as a lake view city. The lake was not visible. So they called us and we tried to help them to make the lake look like a lake. We also do something that is called as garbage management. But this is a novel kind of garbage management. We do co-composting. That is, we take the garbage from 540 households to a farmer's field. Over there, we spread it on the land appropriately and compost it along with the growing crops. But what you are seeing here are not the crops which the farmers was growing. Farmer grew some crops in the winter. In the summer, the land was fallow. It was only doing composting. And then, following rainy season, without sowing a seed, without giving a spoonful of fertilizer or manure, that farmer got this crop. 13 different food species came up on that land just by themselves from the seeds which came in the garbage. You may say maize is easy to grow, but over there we also got rice. Rice requires nursery making, transplantation, and then it grows. Over here, we did not make any nursery. We did not transplant. The rice plants grew out of the garbage which we were composting. This is what world is trying to do. And this is what we like to do. You throw garbage at us, we'll make nice farm out of it. You throw dirty water at us, we'll grow flowers out of it. This dirty water that you see on the left hand side, black. On the right hand side, colorless, is done by use of plants and animals and bacteria and fungi. This is product of treatment of 15 lakh liters of sewage per day, and it is working since 2011. This photograph was taken on 31st March 2012. And this system is natural sewage treatment plant, is NSTP. And this colleague of mine was helpful in making that a reality. He is relaxing on a garden which we planted in 2011. And that garden is doing the treatment. He is actually relaxing on 15 lakh liters per day of natural sewage treatment system. This is a more recent one. We set this up 1.5 years ago for treating 2 lakh liters of sewage in Nasik. This is Maharashtra Police Academy. All their sewage is coming here, getting treated through this beautiful garden and coming out into that pond from where they are using it to water their remaining garden, which is developed on about 100 acres of their premises. These beautiful lotuses, they are there in that treatment system. Water lilies, there are lotuses as well. We were talking about removing stones and removing stones from such kind of rivers. Very forceful, very strong, falling at right angles to horizon. Such kind of rivers. These rivers are responsible for huge greenery in Konkan. These rivers flow practically at 90 degrees. Then they come across little slope which they have created by eroding the hills. And then those rivers come onto the paddy fields, which are more or less level fields. These mountain rivers have been flowing for last 100 million years. Even before the Indian subcontinent came and banged onto the Himalayan or Chinese plate, these rivers have been there. They are on the western slope of Western Ghats, the biodiversity hotspot. There live thousands and thousands of birds of many different species and subspecies. Quite a few of them are resident, while over 50 species are migratory. Their food is mainly comprised of aquatic life forms and insects and fruits which grow by the streams and rivers. These aquatic life forms have been dwindling, not because of climate change, but because of simple river stones and shingle. Since 1949, these stones, kept on building up in this particular river. It was causing annual flood in this town of Sakarpa and Konga. The river was much deeper. Around 1949, it was more than 6 meters deep. By 2021, it had come 1.5 meters above the banks of the old river, which means 7.5 meters of stones had accumulated in this river. In 1949, the river was narrow. In 2021, the river had become wide. Because accumulation of stones doesn't leave sufficient space for water to move, it then spreads. And then every year, this town used to experience flooding. And that flooding, they were scared one day would wash them out. In 2005, they got a glimpse of that. Water rose to more than 5 feet in the entire market area and surrounding village households. So they said, we must do something about it. And then actually between 2019 to 2020, they thought they should do something. They did it actually in 2020 and they were saved from the floods in 2021. Now the question is, how and why did this happen? In 1949, there was huge hill behind this village, which used to carry several hundred waterfalls. And those waterfalls were contributing to make this river. A road was carved out of those hills. And while doing that, the debris that came out was thrown downstream. It then came down and packed the old path of the river. Similarly, there were such rudimentary bridges which were developed. These culverts have tiny pipes as compared to the water that comes in. With so much of vegetation behind, during rainy season, leaves, twigs, trees, all of them come and choke the pipes. And when that happens, water starts spreading all around. That is the cause of building up of stones in the river. Road making, wrong culverts. When you make a wrong culvert, you are actually reducing the flow of the river by reducing the path of water. And that less cross section then results in flooding upstream as well as reduction in speed of water in that area. The stones then get accumulated in their own place. These are the people who actually worked and removed the stones from that river. They are the machine operators of NAM Foundation, and they are the residents of village Kongaon Sakarpa. NAM Foundation and the village together, they spent around 45 to 50 lakh rupees in removing only part of those stones which had accumulated, and that actually saved them. Those 50 lakh rupees which went in removing the stones saved the entire market area and the villages around. In absence of that work, today you would not have had Sakarpa on the map. The flow was so much, it could have easily carried a bunch of elephants away. One more culprit in this kind of siltation are the tunnels of Konkan Railway. Konkan Railway is a marvel, engineering marvel, all right. But the debris that came out of the tunnels and the debris that came out of the path which is leading to the tunnels, all that debris was deposited by the side. Huge quantities of them. And all of them blew down into the river. There are tunnels made in the surrounding areas. Huge tunnels for hydroelectricity, for roads, for trains. All the debris came down and it washed out into this place. Sorry. There was one more engineering marvel, and that marvel is called Koyna Dam. Koyna Dam gives us a lot of electricity. When we need more electricity, engineers come and do something that they call as blasting of a tunnel. And that tunnel is drilled through the hill. And that tunnel, they call it lake tapping. They pat their backs for the achievement that they have done. On the live storage, they make a tunnel and do blast. The tunnel debris flows down into the river called Vasishti. That river then becomes shallow and Chipadun gets flooded. These tunnels are on Kal River, which is the cause of flooding of Mahad. This lake tapping is emptying its debris more than 1200,000 cubic meters, which means about 3.6 million tons of debris into Vasishti River. Such debris is not considered as solid waste, but it is. And then there are stone quarries. This river that you are seeing, about 30 years ago, it was 20 feet deep. Today, it is hardly 2 feet deep. 18 feet of silt is sitting there. 18 feet of stone are sitting there in that river. And these are not isolated examples. Right from Dang in Gujarat to the end of Kerala coast in the south, this has been happening. We are experiencing floods because of these reasons. The carrying capacity of rivers has reduced. The huge quantities of stones and sand recovered from these rivers, they reduce the need for new quarries and synthetic sand making. They also lead in collecting of large pools of water instead of stones. If you remember your chemistry and thermodynamics, water has latent heat of 540 kilocalories. Stones don't have it. When you accumulate stones, you actually cause heating up. When you remove stones and accumulate water instead of it, you cause cooling of the place. And that is what is essential. It can actually cool several gigajoules of heat per river. And my estimate is there are about 180 rivers, major ones, between Dang and Kanyakumari. 180 into several gigajoules of heat will be quenched by this water. And also the carbon dioxide solubility is considerable in water. You hold water, it will absorb carbon dioxide. On that carbon dioxide will grow algae. On that algae will grow fish. On those fish will grow birds and many more life. This can be a formula for reducing the warming earth. This is applicable not only in Sahyadri. It is applicable on the eastern coast, eastern Ghats. It is applicable in Himalayan hills. It is applicable in Seven Sisters. It is applicable in Andes. It is applicable in Rockies. Wherever you have steep slope and either high rainfall or high snowfall, the rivers are getting silted up. If you read something that is called as a beautiful book called Kon-Tiki Expedition, a mariner by name Thor Heyerdahl, he did an expedition of going on a raft in Pacific Ocean, and for that he got his logs from the hills in South America. Those steep hills had a river called Palenque, and that Palenque river carried 50 feet long logs. Imagine how strong and how big the current must be. His grandson thought, let me do the same feat. He tried to do that, but the Palenque had no water. Palenque did not have force. Palenque did not have flowing water to carry even 5 feet log, forget 50 feet. And the reason behind that also must be the same, because we underwent something that is called as development, which means breaking of huge mountains to make steep roads, throwing the debris down the hill, making shallow culverts, making short-heighted bridges, filling the floodplains of the rivers. And that is something which is bad. So something that happened in Sakarpa is replicated all around the world, and that will help in actually reducing the fever of Mother Earth. This is in River Kar. You can see the debris that is accumulated. You can see machines removing the debris, and you can see the water that accumulated. This accumulation is what going to make our land Sujalam Sufalam again. We need to be responsible. We need to understand what we have done. We need to undo that, and then we will be able to reduce the fever that our Mother Earth has. We can make the rivers flowing again. For this project, other than NAM Foundation and the villagers, there was no funding available. No. It has to be absolutely selfless work, so that within next 3, 4, 5 years, we can make real different change, and then can reduce this huge risk. You can search on net about the flooding risks to the cities. All these cities, the numbers which are given next to them are billions of dollars which will be required for mitigating the floods caused by the rivers near them. If you see the reason, we have blocked more than 50% of the world's large rivers. And that, my dear friends, is big cause of the distress that all of us are facing. All the red lines are blocked. All the blue lines, at least till this map was made, were live. But today, Salween, which flows from China to Brahmadesh to the southern parts of Asian countries, other countries, it is getting blocked. Tributaries of Congo are getting blocked. This is what happens when you block the rivers. Wide, fast-moving river, deep river, good plantation or good forest around. Then there are huge pools in the river. They accumulate water, they house the fish. Then development happens. With the development, rivers become wide and shallow. Islands start becoming apparent. On the islands, certain plants grow. On those plants, certain birds and animals start living. People say biodiversity has improved. Not really. What happens is the rivers have become shallow. The hills have become denuded. Then the rivers start becoming wide and eating into the fields and forests. The pools start becoming silted up. All that seeming increase in biodiversity is a kind of myth. River then tends to fill up the area. And this is something that we need to undo. It's about 11 o'clock. Thank you all. Please feel free to use these learnings. There is no patent. There is no intellectual property right. Because after all, at stake is the future of our children and grandchildren. Thank you very much. Thanks for inviting. Now I'll stop sharing. If you have any quick queries, I'll be happy to answer.
Thank you, sir. Anybody has any questions?
No question means two things. I hope the other is not true.
Hello, this is Sridhar. I'm not a student, but a colleague of Ajit. Can I ask a question?
Yes, Sridhar, please.
Okay, so I happen to have experience with Jala Biradari and what Dr. Rajendra Singh says that you slow down the speed of water and do this. But here it seems that in Konkan at the time of monsoon, we need to maintain the speed so that it gets flushed out. Can you explain that a little bit more, because it will clarify my point?
Certainly. There is an NGO called Watershed Development Trust, WOTR. There is an NGO called Tarun Bharat Sangh. These people, out of very good mind, went to drought-prone areas, and there they did something that is called as watershed development. Reduce the speed of flowing water so that water will get some chance to go down into the ground. Hold it by making CCTs, hold it by making cabin bunds, hold it by making check dams, hold it in one or the other means. There they got success. In dry area, low rainfall area. And they wanted, out of very good will, to spread this message everywhere. While doing that, others applied that knowledge without giving appropriate thought to where they are applying it. and they made wrong check dams on wrong rivers, which helped or increased the silting. I did meet Dr. Rajendra Singh. We did go to Sakarpa. I did explain to him and others that slowing the movement of water during rainy season in high rainfall area is a big mistake, which should not be done. Nowadays, he has started suggesting this in low rainfall zones. We must reduce the flow of water in high rainfall areas also, but after Deepavali or after Christmas. Till then, allow that water to flow freely. Thank you. Thank you, Sridhar.
Anybody has any other question? May I request all the participants to just put on their video so that we can take one just screenshot?
I think Rukhsar Ansari has a question.
Yes.
Yes, please.
I think she has typed the question in the chat.
Yes, there is a question.
Okay.
Rukhsar Ansari is asking, water is supplied throughout Mumbai through pipes, and through conversations I have discovered that the taste of water changes in various places. Is there a reason behind it? Water supply comes from the dams to Banduk complex by sealed pipes. From Banduk complex, it goes to Malabar Hill by sealed pipes. From there, it is supplied to the various parts of Mumbai. Pipelines run through soil, the supply lines. They run through gutters. Water is collected in tanks which are underground, which could be leaky. Water is collected in tanks and mixed with borewell water. Water is collected in tanks and mixed with tanker water. There are so many reasons why the taste could be different. I suppose I have answered the reason.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Any more query?
Yes, I again request all the participants to put on their cameras.
Switch on the cameras, please. Madam wants to take a probably group photo.
Yes, sir.
Right. People may not be their best attires. Let it be. Thank you very much. It's
Yes.
11. I need to log off. Something else is.
Yes, sir. Just. Yeah. Yeah, may I request Professor Rahul Tiwari to propose formal vote of thanks?
Thank you, ma'am. On behalf of Water Management Committee of Hindi Vidya Prachar Samiti, Ram Niranjan Jhinjhinwala College, I would like to extend a sincere thanks to today's Honorable Speaker, Dr. Ajit Gokhale, for such a nice session on water. Are we responsible? I would like to thank our Director, Dr. Usha Mukundan, Principal, Dr. Himanshu Davada, for constant support and encouragement, all Vice Principals and teachers from the different departments, and students for taking the time to be here. Once again, I thanks all for making this session successful, and we appreciate your continued support. Thank you.
Yeah, Ajit sir, thank you very much. We'll meet sometime in the college.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Well,
Rahul, sir.
Yeah.
Praveen,
Okay,
sir,
I
shall
will
we?
just close the meeting. Thank you, Chai madam, and all the team members. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
I cannot hear.
Well, Hello.
Yes, sir. You are audible, sir. You are
Yeah,
audible,
yeah.
sir.
So I will close the meeting.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a
Thank you,
nice
sir.
day.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah. Thank you, sir. Same to you.